Greetings, programs. This is Wretch. Welcome back to Citizen Sleeper 2 Starward Vector. And in the last episode, guys, we went ahead and took the rig on a job along with Yu-Jin to try and secure this item that he was looking for, this very valuable item, and it ended up being a race against a rival crew to get there first. Now, we did get there first, however, the item was nowhere to be found, and Yu-Jin had lied to us, which seems to be a theme among a lot of the folks here in the belt. We got back a little bit wiser, maybe not as rich as we wanted to be, and Yu-Jin explained himself, he apologized, and despite the fact that I kind of didn't want to do it, we gave Yu-Jin a second chance. So, our jobs here are pretty much over except for one. We're probably going to be moving on to another station. But, if we go ahead and check the map, we still need to help out Malik, who is here at the asteroid. We need to try and get some ice for him. So let's go ahead and do a little bit of an ice run. We're full up on our fuel and supplies. And look at Yu-Jin there. We can go ahead and grab him and Bliss. Let's see what happens here. Hopefully no swerves. The asteroid looms large in the cockpit's glass. Light glints off the sheets of surface ice, the same glint that must have caught Malik's attention when he was fleeing the Conway countermeasures that damaged the Springtide. There's been no sign of Conway drones or mines, but that hasn't stopped Seraphin from being cautious in his approach. You have to admit you found yourself searching the black void of space for a telltale blinking red beacon, too. We're close enough to jump down to the surface. Seraphin locks down the engines. I don't see anything on the scope, but I'll keep her warm just in case. Thanks. He nods without looking up from the controls. I say we core this snowball fast, Yu-Jin shrugs. The less time we're out here, the less likely we are to run into anything Conway left behind. He smiles. Simple. Sure, Seraphin cuts in, but fast means messy, and messy means more damage to the ice. We don't need to crack the shelf and lose half of the water we came to survey. Who said anything about messy? Yu-Jin stretches, unclipping from his seat. Fast and clean. He winks at you. Easy. You unclip from your seat and kick off toward the airlock. The scale of the asteroid is troubling, but Seraphin assured you on the journey here that surveying it would be easy enough. Just take a sample from the deep ice for testing. The problem, he said, is getting down that deep. You'll have to cut away at the ice, dig yourself a hole, and doing so will create fractures in the shelf. The asteroid may be big, but it's held together with only a weak gravitational force. The more the ice is cracked away, the less there is for the far spindle to harvest. Something you doubt Malik will be happy about. You push the worry to the back of your mind and get suited up. Something on your mind? Bliss drifts up beside you and pulls a suit from the rack. Just hope we don't mess up. Me too. They shrug. I don't want to jinx it, but seems simple enough. Can't say rock, or in this case, ice cutting is my usual strength, but it's gotta be simpler than slicing a hull without touching any of the internals. Bliss zips up their suit. We'll be fine. Bliss's reassurance that they don't have any experience with the job you are about to do doesn't exactly calm your worries, but their nonchalant attitude helps, especially when you consider the volume of ice you're about to start cutting into. Cheer up. Bliss punches you on the arm as you get into the airlock. Might never happen. The lock cycles and you find yourself staring out at the glinting surface of the asteroid. 1 second, Sleeper. Seraphin's voice comes over the comms. I'm seeing something here. Some kind of man-made shaft on the far side of the asteroid. Interesting. Yu-Jin has stood beside you in the airlock, but in this vacuum, you only hear him through the comms link. Crews sometimes stash goodies out on rocks like this. Let's go take a look. He pats you on the shoulder. Just hold up. Seraphin's voice cuts through. The survey is our first priority, and the integrity of the water ice. Hunting for buried treasure comes dead last on the to-do list. You can almost hear his eyes roll through the comms link. Don't get distracted. You squint at the rock and spot a dark recess just over the curve of the asteroid. That'll be the distraction then. You refocus on the ice sheet. Time to get started. Oh, yes indeed. Looks like the Death Star's exhaust port. Explore the cracks with intuition. Clear the ice with endure. Oh, okay, so everything can lead to ice stress, and that is game over, it seems. I do agree that getting this water for the station is our top priority, and fortunately, using our engineering skill, we should be in good shape. So let's go ahead and start cutting. Rather than scanning for a sampling location, you can make one by chipping away the surface ice to reach the core. This is an aggressive approach. By working on existing fractures, the ice sheet can be broken away with little damage to its integrity. And fortunately, Bliss has the engineering chops as well. So maybe we can get like half of this done. Maybe even more so. Let's see, no negatives, please. Because that'll actually cause ice stress, which is no bueno. So far, so good. Uno mas. And then I think we're in the same boat, aren't we? Yep. I might want to do a push for a little bit of stress. And see if I can make that even better. You know what? Oh. Okay. I guess it doesn't... It's just a random dice. Or maybe the lowest one. Either way, this will be my fault. Ooh. Chipping away at the sheet to reach the deeper ice is effective, but it results in a constant haze of icy needles. Oh. A large section of the ice sheet breaks away, scattering the surface of the asteroid with razor-sharp shards. Yeah, that ain't the way. And if we go over here to the frozen shaft and try to use endure, that doesn't look like that's going to be particularly useful as well. However, that seems to be like the only thing that Yu-Jin can do here. So... With care and precision, the ice can be cleared without damaging the walls, and the dark shaft yawns below. I don't know, with this stress, I may actually lose some dice finally. I've got one more chance. Let's see what happens, yeah? Woo! 3 stress. Okay. And I don't think I can actually repair dice off of, here, can I? Even with Bliss. But I am not comfortable using the rest, so let's just head back to the rig and cycle. See how bad the damage is. Not as bad as it could have been. Okay. Neat. So let's put that endure to good use, Yu-Jin. And I'll tell you what, Bliss, how about a little bit of the intuition? Or do I want to do that? Oh yeah, I forgot that I have, I leveled up my intuition. A passage has been found through the shaft. Time to find out what's waiting in the darkness below. Was it derelict bunks, it said? Oh, bunker. I see. Scavenge hardware. You inspect lumps of corroded scrap frozen into the walls. This place looks grim, but maybe within the ice you can find something useful. And then Ghost of the Past, with interface that none of us have. Well, let's focus on getting the ice out of the way and seeing what we have to do here. And go ahead, Bliss. You have identified the deepest part of the sheet. Time to take a sample core. Okay, now it's Endure. Now it's time for Yu-Jin to shine, I'm thinking. So we'll leave that for next. And let's go ahead and start cutting here. Slicing along fracture marks allows a crate to be freed with little damage to the wall. Ooh, we got a little ice stress there. The ice gives way, and a crate is partially freed. You inspect the cracks in the wall. This better be worth it. Yeah, still no way to lower the stress on the dice. Do we want to start this process? We need actually we need high dice for this. So let's just end the cycle. I'm wondering if time is really going to start messing with us here. Or Conway, there's going to be some sort of shenanigan or tomfoolery. No? Looks like we're doing okay. So let's use this dice here to go ahead and get the hardware out. We're not going to touch the data. You pull a set of rare components from the crate. There's little else of value here. Cool. Now let's put all of our focus on getting this done. Ooh, both Endure is bad. And that Endure is bad too. Yu-Jin, I'm actually really glad we brought you, buddy. Careful now. 2 to the frozen core and 1 to stress. I'm willing to risk that. And this is pretty much all that we can do. But how many days more do we... Am I willing to sacrifice a little bit to help that Yu-Jin gets the best dice, or at least we have some high dice to play around with? You know, we're going to go ahead and use this, because I think we'd be dealing with this even if we had a 6. So let's risk. No risk it, no biscuit. Whew. Okay, almost halfway there. And now... it'd be the same for Yu-Jin to do this here. Oh dear. Okay, 2 more and we are not in a good way. Nervous, nervous, nervous. Oh. Cool. Surprising. I'll take it. This is going to take crackerjack timing. Go, Yu-Jin, go. Good, good, good. Same thing with me. Two frozen core, okay. That is ideal. And I am not even going to risk it. Not even going to push. I guess we could push, but it wouldn't guarantee that anything would happen. One more cycle. I think this is like the first time we've had to do this without any like big entanglement. We're not against the clock. Alright, let's go, buddy. All it's going to give you is a little bit of stress. The drill comes to a halt, and the core sample is complete. The sample core, a long and weighty cylinder of cloudy ice, comes up out of the borehole cleanly. It glows in the sunlight, catching the rays in its frosted interior. "What a beaut!" Yu-Jin rumbles through the comms. "Looks drinkable to me. Hell, I'd be happy to slice it up and drop a few chunks in a glass of rack." "Let's not smelt it down for liquid refreshment just yet," Seraphim chimes in. "It's likely packed with unpleasant impurities. The question is, are they the kind of impurities the far spindle can filter out? Let's get it up to the ship, and we can run the analysis on the trip back." Seraphim pauses. "And before you get any ideas about digging around on that asteroid some more, remember that if we break away any of the ice, Malik will likely dock our pay." You start the journey back up to the ship, dragging the core sample with you. As you do, you look back down at the asteroid, wondering if it might be the bargaining chip Malik has been looking for. You'll know soon enough. Contract complete! Extract the ice core without spoiling the hull. Huzzah. Now, just to check something, we've got 100% interface here. Be ashamed to let these nice dice go to waste. Tucked away in the drive has an almost complete file system, the mysterious folders glowing in pale orange. Alright, we're gonna go for it. Hopefully, if it's just one more if we get one more thing of ice stress, we're done. Among reams of corrupted data, 1 or 2 files can be extracted from a near-dead terminal. Okay. And same there. And if I can get a 2, then we're good. Give me 2. Positive. Yeah. Something flickers on the terminal screen, catching your attention. What is that? A flicker screen catches your eye in the dark of the bunker. A distorted female face, further refracted by the surrounding ice, stares at you from the terminal with blank, white eyes. You move closer, straining to hear her voice, but the recording is silent, or perhaps the terminal's audio output is broken. All you can do is watch the pale face as it contorts through the corruption and noise. It could be explaining some important secret, long forgotten, or just recounting a personal anecdote. It's hard to tell. Circles and curving arcs flash across the face, graphical visualizations of orbits and flight plans. You squint at them, the shapes unknown to you. And then, as soon as it starts, the playback ends, leaving a frozen frame on the screen. A ghost face, circled by orbits. You slot a drive into the terminal and copy what residual data is left, unsure where it might lead you. Once it's done, you shut off the terminal once and for all. As you leave the bunker, the pale face flashes once more in your mind. Those blank eyes, the flat stare. Was that a human? Or something else? You turn the image over in your mind, unsure of its importance. Okay. Good deal. Looks like we were able to get through that. Got a little hairy there, and if it breaks later, that is not my problem. Let us go ahead and get back to the ranch and get all of our stress back. Or lose all of our stress, rather. On the journey back from the asteroid, you pored over the tests Malik had given you to run, improvising the necessary equipment from your mess. Each one produces spools of data, much of which you couldn't parse. Arriving to the vicinity of the far spindle, you broadcast these strings of data to Malik's personal terminal on the Springtide, as instructed. Despite all this preparation, you're still surprised when you find Malik standing at the far side of the docking tunnel as you leave the rig. "Sleeper?" He nods neatly at you. I thought it was better I come down here, away from my crew, to discuss your findings. And the findings were? Straight to the point. He clasped his hands. Good. As I suspected, the asteroid was indeed rich with water ice. Thankfully, the contaminants can be dealt with. He speaks matter-of-factly, betraying little emotion. With the data you provided, I should be able to convince the Far Spindle administration of its worth. Then we're good. Malik smiles. That remains to be seen. Before I make payment, I would like to ask in person if you saw anything else of consequence. Anything to share with me that might affect my dealings with the Far Spindle. He folds his arms across his chest. I would prefer not to have any surprises when they go to retrieve the water. Ooh. Can't wait for Seraphim to yell at us. There was a shaft. Interesting. Malik smiles. It's likely of no consequence, but if there's something of value there, it could play to my benefit. I will mention the potential of additional salvage to the Far Spindle administration. Given the data, it doesn't seem to have impacted the ice. Malik reaches into his pocket and produces a stack of cryo-chits, bound carefully with a strip of paper. 250 cryo, as agreed. You take the chits and quickly tuck them away. With that, our business is concluded, Sleeper. Malik nods lightly. I must speak with the administration to negotiate the release of my ship and then prepare for immediate departure. The Syndicate will be eager for my successful return. Thank you. Malik bows and turns. Should our paths cross again, I will see that it will be to your benefit. Sleeper. Seraphim catches your attention as you go to the ship. Can I have a minute? Of course. Seraphim ducks into a maintenance passage and waits for you to follow. In the narrow passage, framed by loose wires and thick conduits, Seraphim looks suddenly small, trapped. He looks at an open circuitry panel as he speaks, avoiding your gaze. You see he's playing with a coin in his hand, nervously spinning it in the air. Since we cleared Hexport, I've been putting feelers out for something. He rubs his hands nervously. I've been in the belt a long time, and I came here alone. But back on Darkside, just before we made a break for it, I heard something. I heard someone was looking for me. He pauses, trying to organize his thoughts. Who is after you? I also heard something else. They said the person looking for me claimed to be my sister. He waits for your reaction. You have a sister? I did, yeah. Or I do. He shakes his head. But I don't even know if it's really her. Just because someone says they're my sister, well, I can't be sure. The thing is, I haven't seen my sister in a long time. I was still a kid when I left. So was she, though I don't think she would have liked to admit it at the time. He smiles to himself. I know you don't remember how it was back in Darkside, I mean. But we were alone, you and me. Lane didn't let us out much, just to work, and that was all. So when I overheard one of his guys mention someone was sniffing around, trying to find me, I didn't know what to think. He frowns. And then, hearing it could have been my sister. He goes quiet. You try to recall that time, the cycle spent under Lane's influence, working for him in exchange for stabilizer. You close your eyes and focus, but the details flicker. The images collapse and reform. Has Seraphim told you this before? Was this all part of your plan? You wanted to go find her. Yeah. He shrugs. It changed things for me. The thought that she could be out there. Don't get me wrong, I wanted to get you out there too. He pauses, and you sense he's finding this difficult. I know it doesn't matter now, but I told you about her back then. Before. I'm sorry, I don't remember. It's okay, Sleeper. I understand. Since we got away, since Hexport, I've been asking around, speaking to spacers, traders, and like I said, something's finally come up. It seems whoever was trailing me left Darkside pretty soon after Utsubo caught wind of her sniffing around. I doubt they made her feel very welcome, but I managed to get a name. The name she gave, Luz, wasn't my sister's, but that doesn't mean much. It gave me something to follow. Is it Luz or Luz? She bounced from Wash a little. Farspindle, Flotsam. Not sure why. He squints at a loose wire. The last thing she did was book passage to Wellspring on a Lotic freighter. That's it. How do you know this? Mostly ship manifests and port records. A few favors on the quiet. I want to go to Wellspring, Sleeper, to know if it's really her, and if it isn't, to settle what needs settling. Let's do it. Thank you, Sleeper. He meets your eye. I'll admit it's been strange reminding myself that everything we talked about back at Darkside, everything we did, it's lost now. He smiles. But I'm glad to see you're still you. Whatever that means. Me too. He nods. Anyway, better get back to it. Seraphim squeezes past you in the corridor and glides back toward the engine room. You watch him go, wondering if your past together can ever be reclaimed. Your mind wanders to thoughts of Seraphim's sister. For a moment, you wonder what it's like to have a family, and if you'll ever know. New drive available, huh? Okay, cool. Well, we got some money out of that, not necessarily anything else, but I can live with that. But we also have... I'm wondering if we could take some time to... Oh man, that engage is just so low. And it's risky. Not the end of the world. We would just lose a little bit. I'm wondering if we could go ahead and get a shift done here, or a few shifts before we leave the Venture Bar, and finish this up. And I know it's completely against what we are spec'd for, but if we get enough high dice, it could work. Basically, we have to have any dice that we have that are 4 or better could go toward this and have it be relatively okay. Let's go into the trade hall, first and foremost. I'm going to go ahead and fill up the tank. And let's head down here. Was there... Now we have Solheim data, which is awesome. And buy scrap components, process raw scrap. The rare components, I think, are going to repair us in case something breaks. Then we have engine components. Just want to kind of double check everything. Ceiling shift. We got Nemba's kitchen. Eventually, we're going to have to do that stuff for Nemba, too. This is a full-on RPG experience. Interpreting signals and all of that for money. Beltborn Venture. Same kind of thing. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. Let's do this right now since we have the dice. We're working on our talking skills. +1, 5 cryo, and gambler's friend. I think we're gonna spill a lot of drinks. Ooh, a cryo, gambler's friend, great. And that has potential. Could we do that in 2 days before we leave to remove the lane debuff as he gets ever closer? Maybe. But we'll see if we can pull that off in the next episode. Hope y'all have enjoyed it. If you liked the episode, please leave a like down below. Subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, that'd be a big help. I will see you next time. Later days, everyone.